Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie room. Now we're going to have another build video today, and this is one of the parts I have been waiting for. I have been so keen to actually see this go on. I've been really intrigued, and that is the rubber roof. So today is the day. We are going to put the rubber roof on and we're going to see how we get on. I want to see if it's easy or difficult or whatever. I really haven't got a clue how this is all going to go about. So I'm so looking forward to this because it's something that I really have been intrigued with. So without further ado, let's go over and see how this roof gets installed. I can't wait. See you in a minute. Well, hello guys. Welcome back to day 7. And as you can see there, on the last video, we ended up with, well no, the one before, sorry, day 5, we ended up with a lot of rain. So we ended up having to put a tarpaulin up on the roof. And that's been up there for the last couple of days because it's been a bit iffy. As you can see now, Tucker's peeling it all back, so we have a lovely sunny day today. And we are hoping to get the rubber roof on this build. Once we've done that, we're obviously watertight, and it's going to make a massive difference because once we're not worrying about the elements, we can concentrate on everything else. So as you can see, it actually looks relatively dry. It's really good. And Tucker is now up there with a leaf blower, and he's going to blow all that off, get rid of it. Any moisture will all disappear, and then with the sun on it as well, it won't take long for that to actually dry out completely. It works really well. Just going up there, just screwing down the last little bits that we didn't do just prior to it having that major downpour. And what he's doing now is he's cutting off the corner brackets, I think, from the trim that we have going around the building. We saw him put that up last time. We're now taking back the plastic. This is the protective covering, and unfortunately we need to take that back before we lay the roof down because the roof needs to be glued, and it ends up being glued over the edge of that trim. And then there is another bracket that fits over, another fascia that goes over that, which tidies it all up. But this will all become very apparent once we start. So we're taking off the cellophane from the trim at the back and the sides. Everything's cleaned up. This is one of the parts that I have been looking forward to the most, because we were really on the fence as to whether to go for a rubber roof or should we perhaps felt the roof. There's different options you can do for roofing, but the rubber roof has been something that we've been sort of like hankering for a long time, and I kept looking at different options. And in terms of cost, the rubber roof doesn't cost much more than actually felting it if you felt it in a really good quality felt, but it is possibly easier to install. It all goes on in one piece, so that makes life a lot easier. There's all sorts of benefits to a rubber roof, and I think it's actually longer lasting as well. You get like I think it's a 20 or 25 year guarantee with a rubber roof, whereas with the felt there isn't such a guarantee. I think maybe felt might be guaranteed for 10 years, but there's lots of stipulations as to whether that felt was put down correctly and all the rest of it. Now here comes the felt, the rubber, sorry. And I've got to say, without John there, this man is built like a bloody ox, and I don't think me and Tucker would have got that rubber up on the roof. It weighed an absolute ton, and yeah, and it was incredibly heavy. So as you can see now, it's all up there. The rubber is in one piece, so it's almost like a big pond liner. So Tucker's pulling it around now. Make sure we get it the right size, the right way round, because it's obviously longer than it is wide. We've got a nice clean roof. Very important that the roof is kept clean, dust free, because we have to glue this down. It actually gets glued down. As you can see there, it is not light. This stuff is a couple of mil thick, and it is incredibly heavy. Rubber is very, very dense. Now, one of the good things is, because of the weather we had on the day, and this is something we purposely was hoping for and waiting for, was a lovely warm day, and this helps by keeping the rubber very, very supple. I mean, it's very supple. It's almost like an inner tube rubber from a bicycle. It's very, very similar to that. So it's a couple of mil thick. It's very, very supple, but it's incredibly strong, really strong. As you can see there, Tucker's now pulled it all around, got it where he sort of like needs it. I think this left-hand corner needs to be pulled out a little bit more. Just going to get it squared up. There we go. Look at that. Doesn't take too long at all to actually get it where we need it to be. Now, with this, we were literally oversized, because they do it in certain dimensions, and we ended up having to go for a slightly bigger dimension because we didn't quite fit under the one before. So we end up with a little bit of leftover, if you like, a little bit of spare, which I think Tucker's got hanging off over the back. And then when he pulled that up a minute ago, we'll then cut that surplus off, which I think he's about to do now. Just making sure everything is in place, because once you cut this stuff, there's no going back. That's very, very important. You don't make a mistake at this point. So there you go. He's cutting off that surplus, and it ended up being like about a 3-foot strip by the whole length of the building, which is quite a lump, to be fair. But there was no way around it. So it had to be done. So we'll keep that to one side. I know we're just talking now about just the ease of what this stuff is like to work. It's such cool stuff. One thing that Tucker did say was the heat coming off of it was pretty strong, and by the end of the day, by the time he'd finished up there, he said the heat was pretty much unbearable. Very, very, very hot. Now, straight away, this raised concerns before, when we were considering the rubber roof, about it actually cooking the building. And I do have a friend that's put a rubber roof up on his gym, and I was talking to him before we started this project, and he was saying you can literally fry an egg on the roof. It gets that hot on a hot sunny day. It's absolutely intense. And he was saying that he couldn't actually go in his gym when we had the hot weather recently, because it was just too much. It was stifling, unbearable. So that did make me worry a little bit. But by putting the cold roof in that Tucker's built, we should alleviate that, and it shouldn't have a detrimental effect on the inside of the building. Now, what's happening now is Tucker is actually laying down the glue. You can see there it's a white glue, and he's laying that all over. And he's having to move pretty quick because it is very warm up there, and we don't want it drying out before we get to put the rubber over it. And as with the floor, these glues are damned expensive. So yeah, they are very, very good. They do the job, but they are quite costly. So it's important that we get the most out of them and we get as much as we can get done with them. Now then, Tucker's now picking up all the roof and we're now going to lay it back over. So what he's doing is picking it up and then kicking it over with his feet. You'll notice he's now barefoot as well. Just got his socks on. He's lost his trainers because he was obviously walking over the glue as well. We don't want that all over the roof. So he's now down to his socks on. I'm pretty sure that is actually burning his feet at the moment. So I'll let you into a little secret. This isn't speeded up. This is just Tucker moving very, very fast because his feet are on fire. So what he's doing now is he's sweeping it. He's brushing it out so that there's any air or any ripples in the rubber. He brushes them out so we have a perfectly flat roof. And it's something that you've got to, certain bits like there, you just saw he had to lift it all back up, lay it down. He's done that a couple of times, trying to get rid of an air bubble or whatever. There you go. It is meticulous work. So this sort of stuff suits Tucker. He is quite a meticulous guy. He likes to make sure everything is just right, which is an absolute bonus for us. No cowboy builders here. So he's now sweeping that through, and as you saw, he probably glued about a third of that roof. So that is all on. You keep walking over it, keep checking it, making sure there's no imperfections in it. Now all the time that this is going on, it's getting hotter and hotter. The daytime temperature is slowly rising. Right, back on with the trainers. He's now coming back over here. Here we go. We're going to pull this back now. Back to where the glue was previously. Keep it nice and flat. And then we can, there you go, look, he's just found the edge. We can now glue the next portion of the roof. There we go, we're going to pull over this piece now. This will do the middle section. Sweeping it all through again. It's so important that it's actually swept over and laid flat. We don't want any bubbles or creases in it. If that happens, we could end up with problems later on. So it's very important that it's laid perfectly flat and glued firmly down to the base of the roof. As you can see here, the process itself is a very, very simple process. When I first looked into having a rubber roof, I was a little bit sort of, how difficult actually is it? Because it's an interesting fact with the rubber roofs. When I started looking into it, some of the quotes that you get for people to come and put a rubber roof on are astronomical. They are super, super expensive. And I often sort of that was one of the things that put me off, was it was just so expensive on the quotes. And then talking to Tucker, he was like, no, it doesn't need to be like that. We can do this sensibly. And so we ended up, that's what we done. And when you actually see the process being done and you realise just how simple and easy fitting a rubber roof actually is. I mean, anyone with half sensible DIY skills could put this roof on. And obviously the more you do of them, the better you become. As you can see there, Tucker's done a number of these, and you know he's very proficient at what he's doing. He's nice and quick. I dare say if I had done this roof, it probably would have taken me all day, whereas this literally took, I think it was something like about 3 hours, and he was done. So, you know, experience creates quicker times. But as you've seen, anyone with sort of like half reasonable DIY skills could actually glue a rubber to a roof. It is not that difficult. But because of it's quite a new thing in the industry in terms of, you know, it's still what people would class as a fancy roof, if you like. So of course they still charge the earth for it, which is a real shame because it's just people making money out of nothing really. Now what Tucker's doing now is he's cutting off the excess here, and he'll do that all the way around, because now what we're looking for now is we're going to put the front trim, which basically secures the roof to the fascia. So we've got a different adhesive now, and he's going to need to cover, which is what he's doing now, he's going to cover that lip of the rubber all the way along, and then John there is just offering up the new piece of fascia. And what this does is this fascia actually clips over the top of the old fascia, and with that rubber behind it, and you'll see exactly what I mean in a moment. So you're going to put that up there, take the trim off, and there you go. It's got like a little lip on it, and this fits over the edge of the fascia that's the original fascia. And then what they do is they tack that on, and because the rubber has got glue on it, it completely glues it to the fascia itself. I'm going to get up and do the next bit. And this is your edge. This is what we have as a finishing edge. So this will be the face. There's a join there, so Tucker's literally going to put there's a little cap that goes over that, so that seals the joins up. We're tacking it all the way through, and this eventually will give us a lovely clean face, make it look really, really smart, and it also makes it totally and utterly waterproof. There you go, he's literally just cut a piece out there. Not entirely sure why he cut that piece out, but I'm sure there was a reason. Maybe he just wanted to see what it looked like. Oh, this was it now. You can see he's got his hand wrapped up. That was it. He actually decided to try and cut his hand off. So he's got a load of kitchen towel wrapped around his hand. We did offer him a plaster, but being a typical British worker, he was like, no, we don't need a plaster, we just carry on. Bit of kitchen roll, perfectly adequate. Now he's now pulled back the side. You can actually get to see it a little bit better now. And you can see there that he's gluing the fascia as we go along. He's putting a little bit along the edge of the rubber as well to make sure that the top edge of the rubber sticks firmly to the top of the fascia. John's already round the side there now. He's waiting with the piece of fascia that's going to go on. And you can really start to see how it all comes together. Now by this point in the build, we were getting, every time we spoke to Tucker, the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "It's bloody hot up here, absolutely roasting." And I think he thought it was around about 40 degrees on top of the roof. And I could well believe it. It was a warm day, and up on top of that rubber must have been pretty unbearable. I know they were saying just trying to work with it, it was actually hot to the touch. So we're getting all the fascias put right. There we go. We're going to measure up this front bit. Now this last piece on the front is really cool because you can actually allow us to see a little bit more of what it's going to look like. It's at this bit that you start getting impatient. You just want to trim them bits of excess rubber off so we can get to see it. There you go. John's now cut the last piece that's going in. We've got the corner bracket to go on as well. So just getting all these bits checked out. Just getting that cut so that it fits nice and snug with the side piece. Here we go, tacking it all through. So as you can see, it's a fairly straightforward procedure. It's nothing too technical really. Probably the most important part really when putting the faces and everything on is getting your measurements right. So as long as you measure correctly, it's all going to look top notch when you're finished. And that is the most important thing, is the actual overall finished look, because we want it to look absolutely perfect. We don't want gaps and dodgy lines and things like that. It does need to look perfect, you know. And this is one of the cool things. Look at that. Tucker just catching a few rays now. You know, a little bit of sunbathing. He thought we couldn't see him sat at the back of the shed there, but no, we've got him on film sunbathing. While John was busy working away down on the floor. Well, they're back at it now. All jokes aside, I should imagine Tucker right needed a rest at this point. He's slowly being cooked up there. So here we go, putting on the side stuff now. So we've literally got the side and the back, and then that will be the roof on. That is it. That is then going to be watertight. Now it wouldn't be watertight until we put the final trim on. The final trim is what actually makes it watertight, and because it's got a lip along the edge, it means that the sides are literally like a centimetre or two above the roof height. So they literally are just a little bit higher than the flat roof. And what this does is it allows the water to run down the roof and stops it from actually going over the edge and soaking the sides of the building. So it's a really cool little design actually. It bloody helps to keep the water off of the sides of the roof. Now, you know, if you'd put a felt roof on, you would have to put a gutter in all the way around it to stop that. Otherwise it would just drip down the sides of the building. By having this system, we don't have to have a gutter on the sides or on the front, which means that we can keep it clean. It means that there's nothing there. So in terms of a visual, we will be looking at a nice flat face. We won't be looking at guttering, but we will end up having a gutter running along the back because our building slopes to the back. So any excess water, if we have very heavy rain, all of that roof will be catching the water and sending it all backwards, which will make it the volume of water much more. So we will have a gutter on the back, but it's not necessarily necessary on the rest of it. It's a very, very neat little system, and it makes for a lovely clean look. So now what we're doing now is we're going to cut back. He's putting the corner bracket on there, which just finishes it off and ties the front to the side. And as you can see there now, he's just starting to trim back the rubber, clean that off. You can actually see what he's doing now. So we've got to work our way along and clean this rubber back. So he's cutting that back with a standing knife. And as you can see there, look how different it looks. Now we're taking that excess rubber off. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, one thing I would like to say, it was such a hot day. When we finished this, we all went inside and stood inside the shed. And my God, was it cooler. It was unbelievably cool in there compared to what it was outside. So this cold roof system that Tucker has built is, I have no doubt, is actually going to work a treat. It's going to be so good. And with the same system in the floor, I'm sure we can control it. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. So there you go. That is our rubber roof pretty much installed, just the tidying up of the edges to be done. What a wonderful job the guy's done. I am so pleased. It's just, and I think it just looks absolutely top notch. Really, really pleased. Now it's on for the cladding. And electrics. We need electrics. Well, that weren't bad at all, was it? I am really, really impressed with that. Now, one of the things that we had to do was the roof was slightly oversized because we ended up having to buy it in a larger piece than we actually needed, and then we had to trim it. So that was a little bit annoying, but as with most things, nothing's ever made to measure, is it? So we had to trim it off a little bit, which gives us a little bit of surplus on the back. But what an easy installation. Now, you'll have noticed there that well, for a start, just how heavy. I cannot tell you how heavy that rubber roof is. Just that rubber alone. And if it weren't for the man mounting, John, I don't think me and Tucker would have got that up the ladder. But John, absolute ox of a man, literally on his shoulder, off he goes. And he got it up there. Yeah, I was well impressed with that. That is seriously, seriously heavy. Now, once it's up there, it weren't so bad. Tucker managed to get it all unfolded. Now, before he done that, you would have seen that he was up there with a leaf blower, and we took the tarpaulin off because we'd had that on there, drying it, keeping it dry. But some of the edges got a little bit damp, and luckily, on the day that we decided to do this roof, the sun was out and it dried it off in no time at all. And then with the leaf blower, that just helped by blowing off any excess moisture, and the sun done the rest. Now, it really is a good shout to actually put this rubber down on a hot day, because it softens it out. It makes it really, really soft and pliable. And you would have seen there that Tucker literally opened it all out, got it square, got it round where we needed. He was saying that you need around about 100mm overlap at least on all edges. And this is so that when you put your edge trims in, it all holds it all together. Now, you also seen there that we glue it. So Tucker went through and he glued the whole roof, and then basically rolled it out, glued it down, and then you see him sweeping it, and what he's doing is he's moving away any air pockets and things like that so that it sticks nice and flat to the roof. Absolutely incredible stuff. Now, when this was all done, I was absolutely gobsmacked at how easy it is to do this. Now, when we first started this project, I spoke to many people. And whenever I said about putting a rubber roof on, they were like, "Oh, that's a lot of money. Costs a lot of money to do that sort of thing." And it put me off a little bit. And it weren't until I spoke to Tucker and he was like, "No, it doesn't need to be that expensive. It really doesn't." And then you realise that actually it's one of them points in the industry that everyone is just milking everybody. It is such an easy installation. It is not a difficult job to do at all. It's really, anyone with some half basic DIY skills can put a rubber roof on. It is not difficult. So that was really pleasing, and I am so glad that we went ahead and used the rubber roof over and above anything else that we were looking at. It really has been one of the best choices that we've made for this building, and also it has something like a 25-year guarantee on it as well, so it should outlast me, I would think. Now, so we got it all down, got it all done. All the trims are in place. Now, as you would have seen there's a few little marks on the fascia where the glue has come down and stuck on the rubber, then the rubber's touched the fascia. It's all easy stuff to get cleaned off afterwards, so we don't worry about that. That will clean up lovely. Now that we've got all of that on, we can now go ahead and put the guttering on the back. The side clips that where the fascias and the boards actually connect the rubber to the roof, they create like a little gully, so the water actually drains down to the back of the building. So we just need to put guttering along the back. We won't need it anywhere else. It just needs to be along the back edge. Now, there's also an extra trim that goes on there which takes the water away from the building and drops it in the gutter, which actually stops it all from going down into the back of the building, which is a really cool little idea. And then we just fed the guttering just feeds it out the back and away from the building, so we don't get any wet spots in the base of the building. Now, absolutely chuffed to bits. One of the things that was a little surprising was when Tucker was up there, bearing in mind that I think we were hitting around about 30 degrees that day. He reckoned it was 40 plus on that roof, and he said it was actually burning him to touch it. It is so hot, and we all went up and had a little feel, and it is, you could fry an egg on it, which gives us a little bit of a worry, because we're thinking inside that building is going to get really warm. Now, hopefully with doing the insulation in the roof and everything else, I have been corrected, because I've been calling it a cold roof. Some people have been saying it's a warm roof. I'm talking to different people in the trade, and some call it cold and some call it warm. So I'm not quite sure which one it is now, but it's one of them. Either way, as long as it works, I don't really care what it's called, but as long as it works. So yes, the time will tell. When we went down into the room itself, bearing in mind we've got no door on it at the moment, it was actually substantially cooler inside the room than it was just standing outside in the sun. So I'm hoping that it's all going to come together and work out really well. But like I say, time will tell once we get the door and everything on. But that's the next thing. We need to clad all of the sides, and we need to clad the front and get the door on. And then it's just a case of waiting for this electrician. So as we said in the last video, we've been let down with the electrician, so we need to source another one. And obviously they're all very busy, so trying to get another one in place that we can come in and do the job. It's taken a little bit of mucking around, but we will get there in the end. We'll find one. But no, that was the roof on. Something that I've been really looking forward to. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that video. And it just showed a little bit and give a little insight as to some of the stuff that goes on when doing these jobs. And hopefully it would have shown just how easy it is. And trust me, it doesn't need to be as expensive as a lot of these companies are making out. Daylight robbery with some of them. In pretty much, in actual fact, all of them. I think all the ones that I spoke to, they wanted big bucks, and as Tucker has shown us, it had no need to be costing anywhere near what they were quoting. So have a bit of trust in your builder and see where you go. But like I say, you can do this roof yourself. It's not that difficult. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did. I really enjoyed this process. Until next time, it will be cladding. Next, we're going to clad the building, which will actually make it look, hopefully, the posh building that we're hoping it to be. And we wait and see until that arrives. Right then, don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. I'll see you all soon, guys.